Everyone, good evening. I hope you're ready and excited about another episode on my channel. I know I am. I wanted this time to show you how to make a wand according to my method. Um, I've got quite a number of ideas on how to do this, so let's begin, shall we? So, for this episode, I have taken a wooden dowel about the length of my finger, almost to the end of my elbow. That's a general length of a wand. This is what we prize in a wand length. It's what helps best with the conducting of energy out through the wand. I also have glue gun, extra glue sticks in case I run out. I have my assortment of paints, but not. I don't want those to fall down. This is my wand. I will not need this for this video. I have a case of my knives, and I seem to be spilling it. So, the design, basically, I have decided I want this end to be the handle, the part that you hold, whereas this is the stalk or the stem of it. So I'll need this to be filed down to a certain extent. Let me see. I have various knives. I usually use the bigger one. See? X-Acto knife. This is my preferred means of whittling. You have to have a feel for the wood. Certain times the wood will want to cut with you. Other times it will go against you, in which case you want to, instead of pushing forward, you want to carve toward yourself. But to do that, you'll need to level yourself with your left thumb to be able to pull the knife towards you while not suddenly breaking loose and stabbing yourself. I don't need to tell you that that's not what making wands is about, is getting wounded, possibly going to the hospital. Doctor, can I have this thumb removed or sewn back on? So, I know many people have seen me do this many times. But I've never put this out on video. Now remember, while some of the wands in my collection that I have made are perfect and straight and filed exact, others are more wonky and wobbly. Some others resemble more of a natural piece of wood, a natural branch, than a dowel, so to speak. Some I have done it to on purpose, giving it the wonky look. See, already starting to get this wobbly feel to it. So what you have to do is just go as you go. Feel it, see it, understand it, what the wood wants to do, what the wand wants to do. Do you remember in the Harry Potter series, I believe it's in the first one, when Harry's getting his wand for the first time ever, Garrick Ollivander says to him, the wand chooses the wizard. And in a similar sense, the wand designs itself, or at least it should be allowed to design itself. It should be free to maneuver itself into its feel, into its mold. The same as any human being should be allowed to wriggle themselves into their own fantastic shape. Some people dress like me, all weird and suggestive of some other time or some other world. Others blend in with everyone else. You just have to find your specific niche. Yes, I know this makes quite a mess. This is why I brought the table into this room instead of doing it directly over the floor. As it is, I've dropped a couple pieces of wood on the floor. Any project at all, especially when dealing with wood, will create a certain degree of mess. There's no way you can be completely safe and spotless. There's no ship-shaped piece of work out there. It's always, you're going to have to do a bit of tidying up afterwards. So, I'm starting to get this shape. It's not quite thin enough. I want this to be, rather than having a stone or something at the head of it, it's going to have the larger, the weightier size at the handle. Like in the Harry Potter series. So I need to adjust this tip for you. Get this little bit done. And mind, again, this is going to take quite a bit of doing, quite a while of work, especially if it's going to be your first one. So I think, as a favor to the viewer, I'm going to pause this video, pick up a little bit later, and pause it again and pick it up later, so you can generally see the work I'm doing. So I will see you all in a couple minutes. Okay, so I finished most of the stalk of it. You see how it starts getting a little wibbly wobbly, crookedy? I saw as I was working on it, it started to get this shape to it that was very uneven and perfectly natural. That's something I prize in a wand, as I've said. So I just went with it and I started cutting here and cutting there, and I felt the way it wanted to go, and I humored it and I went along with it. So all I need to do now is smooth it out a little bit. It's a bit rough. I want it a little bit smoother of a flow. Not all these angles, but rather curves and movement to it. It's actually not a lot of work now. I think I've done most of the long part of it. 15 minutes in my case, or 20. For a beginner, this could take several hours, if not several days, different sittings, excuse me. Different occasions over the space of a few days to make a complete wand in this style. And they will probably be afterwards the same as I did when I made my first wand. I made it! Then I got this idea, oh, I think I'll paint it. But I don't have any paint, so I used oil pastel crayons on it. Well, I don't need to tell you that oil pastel crayons rub off of wood because they're oil. They're not a hard, fixed substance. Unless they are sprayed with a lacquer, which now I use clear nail polish, which is actually an excellent sedative. But then I had made, as I was saying, the first one. I realized, oh, I could do this with a wand. It was the first time I saw it on Pinterest when they were taking chopsticks and putting hot glue from a glue gun on it in different shapes and features, and then painting it, and that was the wand. They were making a shape to it, and I thought, that is a brilliant idea. I think I'll do that. And then I thought, wait a minute, why can't I do that to my wand? And I did it to my wand, and I was so pleased with the result after I painted it. And I thought, wait a minute, I could do it a little better, and I did it again. And this second time, I decided, oh, I ruined it. I don't like that. So I had to cut it all off and do the original design. Then I thought, wait a minute, that could have been a good idea if I tweaked it this way. So I did it again. I was very pleased with the result. And of course, after that, I redid it several times, and then I changed it from being black and brown to black and green. And I was very pleased with the result. But unfortunately, one day I was getting in the car and I sat on it and snapped it in half. And needless to tell any other pagans out there, once your wand has been broken, the energy flow is pretty much fucked up. And so I had to make myself a totally new wand. And I was not thrilled with the results. They were adequate, but I didn't have the materials to really do it precisely the way that pleased me. And after that, of course, I I received more glue and more wood, more dowels, and I was able to make the perfect wand, which I threw it over there earlier in the video. You keep working at something until you're satisfied. And of course, making wands for other people, they are not meant to meet my needs, so they can be a little more relaxed. People can take a look at these things on Facebook, on YouTube, as I've done videos displaying my works. They can take a look at them and say, that one would meet my needs, and then they can buy it from me. My wands do go for sale. But they have to look for themselves. They have to be satisfied for themselves with what I have. Almost done with this. I'm getting a little more of a flow to it rather than choppy angles. Thinning it out a little here and a little there, and a little bit of detailing in several places. You know, I want my wands to have a good, pleasing appearance. Whether it's something that looks like it's straight from Harry Potter, all perfect or rough, or something that appears more like from the Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the Grey, that is, and Radagast the Brown had very rough rods that resembled wood, pieces of wood, though Gandalf's staff in The Hobbit, earlier in The Hobbit, looked like wood that resembles flame, suggestive of his power over fire and his bearing the ring of the fire of honor. You don't often see that ring, by the way. I don't know if he kept it in his satchel he carried and put it on for occasions, but you don't often see the ring on his hands. I've looked, and thus far I've only noticed it as Gandalf the White. I know he had the ring before that. And here I go off on another subject, completely different from the one I'm covering in this video. I'm sorry, I am quite a fan of Tolkien's work. So, and remember to keep yourself hydrated. Actually, in doing such detailed work, it absorbs your attention, and in so doing, you start sweating a lot. So I made myself some tea. It's one of my favorite drinks. surprising how much effort goes into each wand. Most handmade wands in the United States cost about $50 and higher, sometimes as much as several hundred, because each one takes such a great deal of effort. And most are not as simply done as mine, even. Mine are rather simply made. Mine use hot glue, which is a cheat way of doing things, I suppose. In my practice, I found it does not impede the flow of energy too much. When all said and done, the glue I use is strictly made from what they used to make them from: old horses. Old dead horses. I know you might think that's a bit savage, but when all is said and done in my faith, you use what you have, you use what's been given to you. I could never be a vegetarian, because I believe meat was given us to eat. And that's just my opinion. I don't bash those who believe otherwise. Hopefully they don't bash me either, because that's just not nice. So I'm basically getting to the point of having it smooth, very smooth. I want you to cut it at different angles, but when cutting towards yourself, anchor it with your thumb so that you don't accidentally slip and gash a hole in your hand. That's not the perfect ending to this day. A goldfish died, by the way. We're pretty sure one of the children turned the thermostat on our house up to about 98, and since the vents do not close in the bathroom, even though we've tried closing it before, well, the fish basically got oiled. Our kids know better now, though. They're all in bed, the sweet things. Sometimes you come across this one little tricky bit that doesn't seem to want to grow one way or another and just impedes your knife. So I basically just rub at the fucker. Alright, so there you have this shape. It goes into a point at the tip that has been rounded out a wee bit. I still have, let me hold it this way, handle, and I have to find something to do with. I think I will take cuts into here, like so. All the way around, and then cut downwards instead of forwards. Those loose little pieces and down broken. But that can be remedied with the glue. I'm basically making a bit of an indentation, a ring, if you will, that runs along the base of the handle of the wand. It appears I need to cut more in this direction, because it did not all of it come off. I love the sound of as it comes away. So, I basically have a bit of a ring around it. That's better. And I think I will do the same about here. I have to remember this. Oh, here's a apt comparison, I believe. If you think of this as a knife, a dagger, you have your handle and your blade. So you cut into it in forward motions first, and once you reach all the way around, you come in motions towards yourself instead. I don't know why it did not come away again. So, the purpose again, as I think I have specified in one of my former videos, is to have it be as comfortable in your hand as possible. Because when all is said and done, you need to have a comfortable feel for you to fully let the energy flow from your hand into your wand and out. So I've got this shape, this form of a ring. Yes. Or rather, you see this small piece at the bottom, handle cut, bit of a knob cut, and the stalk or blade of the wand. Now, I think I can say that this is finished being cut. We get all the wood shavings because Melissa's not going to appreciate having to clean this up very much. As one aspect, men especially, any man who's making a wand, clean up your mess so your wife doesn't get it to it before you and have your ass later. So, glue gun. It has already been preheating since I started this video. So, first things first, bulbous tip. Start decorating this. Oh yes, this is very heated already. Now just cover it, don't do too much. Give it a little time to set. Turn it so that it doesn't wibbly wobbly all over too much. It's still going to. But this kind of glue, it's not very thick. And it likes to go everywhere. Which is not really a good thing if you're in the business for a living, as I'm trying to be. I actually had one of my nephews bring over $10 the other day, and I don't know what happened to them. I think he took them back. But one of his classmates told him, "Give it to me. He wants a wand." I thought, oh my god, I couldn't believe it when I first heard it. But I have not heard any more from that since. start putting glue on the second part, the more handle-like piece. I can tell this is already going to be quite a long video. I haven't even started painting it yet, and I'm going to cover that in this video. So, because the video is already getting towards, that's 25 minutes, I am going to push pause and finish with the glue, and then once that's done, I will play it again and show you what I've done. So until then, next time. Okay, so see what I have done. The different pieces, as it were, to it has this nice feel in the hand, like the handle of a sword or a dagger. It has this push to it, and I like that. I'm really pleased that it turned out this way on the very first one I ever did on video. I love the way this looks. It's rough and natural, but it has this preciseness about it as well. Something like something was planned, but it was used. It used the design of this piece of branch that they tore off a tree, perhaps. So, I have decided on using brown tones, all natural tones. A little bit of black. I don't know if I will use this yet. Have my brush. I usually use one brush in the process. Mixing dish. I do not know if I will need this, but I have it set there just in case. I have a napkin for cleaning off the brush. I traditionally don't use water unless I'm finished with the project. So, wait a minute. Yellow ochre, I do not need that one. I had originally considered this tiny little silver button on the tip of the handle, but I do not think that goes with this look. That's more for something a little more precise. Starting with lightest color, light brown. Light brown, light brown. I might use the yellow ochre after all, but not right now. Right now, I'm thinking perhaps making it look as if the wood, the hot wood, so to speak, would be a lighter, and it would get darker towards the handle, the same as I did with my black and green wand. My black and green one looks a little more detailed, a little more precise, more streamlined, if you will. This one also had this certain look, like it would be good in gray or perhaps white and silver, which would be fantastic. But I felt more that the earth tone was calling out to me. So I decided to go with earth tone. Intuition is priceless. And by the way, if any of you have ideas on how I can display my wands in our home, where to set them in an attractive, orderly fashion, then I would be very pleased to hear it. I'd like them to be visible, not in... I mean, the whole Garrick Ollivander shop wand in a box idea, that was cool enough, but I do not have my own shop, only online, which I would someday like to have my own shop. But as for now, while they are in my home, I want some place to put them where they are visible and can attract attention to whoever might see them. So if anyone has any ideas, please, oh please, will you tell me? 'Cause I want to know. I want to be able to display these in the most attractive manner possible. I can't say that I've looked up on Pinterest or anything, but I'll give my viewers something to talk about. A reason to contact me, perhaps? I don't know, we'll see. Getting the small places in between, that's the real bugger. There's, or particularly with the staff, my wizard's rod that I showed my viewers in a previous video. Its branches and its head was such a way that it most of the time blocked the blocked me from reaching it very well, and it took quite some time to get that thing painted and stained. I used wood stain and then I covered it in just a minute. Covered it in patches of green, reminiscent of the woods, I thought. It's what appealed to me. I love the color green, and I put it in a great many things of mine. My grimoire, my wand, my clothing, of course. Even the box these are in has black with a green stripe around it, here and there. Okay, I'm seeing, of course, it's going to need a second coat. A little bit here and there. You see, while the paint is wet on this, it gives little sparkles of light as the light from the lamp hits it. And they hide the little glints of bare wood that are visible when it is dry. So generally these things are best done in two coats. I think this will be covered in one. I'm going to try and make it go for just one. Always, always, always remember, cover your surface of work as best as you can. This, you should generally start with the lightest color of paint and work your way to the darkest, because it will be much less likely to glare out and blend with your second color that you have your paintbrush. And of course, the glue generally likes to be a little slick for the paint at first. Ah, I see I've got a little red in there. Keep trying. I've got my brown now, my medium brown, medium darkish brown. It's starting to mix a little with the reddish brown around it, which is actually something I am liking. I can see here it's going to need a second coat. I will see what I can do in this video though. Damn, this video is going to be a very long one. Sorry if I'm boring everyone. Hopefully not, but there's always that chance. Okay, I'm going to pour the paint into the dish, because this whole thing about trying to balance the wand, the brush, and the paint tube is just a bit of rot. It's not going to work. I'm going to get pissed off at it. Okay. I'm liking the way this wand looks. It's rather rough hewn look that I prize very much. I don't like things looking like they were bought in a machine-made set. Even if they're supposed to look professionally done, I prefer them to have a bit of irregularity to it. Whether it's like my wand and has the rough patches at the handle, or it's like this one that's a bit wonky here and there. The blade of the wand is mobile, so to speak. I do not know if this will need a second coat after all. I managed to fill up the patches I was having a bit of trouble with. So I suppose the main thing is to make sure you've got enough of paint on your brush. Otherwise, you are going to have a time of it. I know. I know. Video making everyone yawn, possibly a couple eyes heavy with sleep. I should go into sleep advertisements. Perhaps some Zen or yoga videos for the restless sleeper. I don't know, that might be interesting. Turn it around, and yes, I'm getting paint on my fingers. That's what happens when you're a wand maker. You make messes. And I'm going to have to pour more paint into the dish. Not a great deal. Not a great deal. Wondering, how do I make this just a little bit? How do I make... I was thinking about blending some other color into the blade of it, but I don't know if that's going to be very possible. Make sure you get the little pieces where the two colors of paint join. That is an easy target place that can be missed. I do it all the time. So, what do you think? Should I change the color on it? I don't think so. I still need to add in the black. That will be a small detail here and there. Okay, try and do this one-handed. I'm even turning it the right. I am turning it the right direction. Yay me! Yay me! Right, a little bit of black. I'm putting it in the same tray as the brown in case I want to mix a bit, which I probably will end up wanting to do. A little bit of black, a little touch here and there, especially in little deep places. And because I've still got wet brown, it's going to want to blend, therefore it will end up dissipating the black. I need to reload the brush a little more often than with regular paints. Excuse me. Than with doing it as in layers of drying it and then painting the second color on afterwards. I tend to rush a bit. It helps me with my style. I don't really know how to explain that. People will tell you all day long. until the blue in the face, you can't rush art, but I'm good at rushing. I don't like rushing, but it's what I do. Don't be afraid to let colors mix. That's what you're looking for in something that's supposed to be natural. Find places of wet paint and go with it. Oh, did that. I'm doing this one. Sometimes you want strokes, sometimes you just want to stab your brush into the middle. Love mixing. You'll find I love painting, though I don't always possess the gift. That's the strange thing about me. Sometimes I can do something, and sometimes I'm just a big old bundle of thumbs. There. I just had an accident. I brushed on accident there, not thinking what I was doing, and I think I like the effect. I'll give this a little sweet thing of black while I still have paint on the brush. It will give it this. It almost has a fiery resemblance. I'm liking this one more and more as I work on it. Smooth out the original mark I made, dust it a wee bit. Alright. I'm thinking I'm going to do the same to the handle. I wouldn't actually see why not. I have to get some of that, wipe most of it off, give it this smudged appearance. Like, I know they do this with furniture nowadays to give it an antique look. I've never done this with a wand before, and I like it. I like the end result. I really, 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 really do. Okay, so here's the wand, completely finished. Reddish tones to it with black, fading as if antiquing. The specially made handle, one of a kind. I will never make a wand exactly like this again. I love the way this turned out, the feel to it. It has the same bulbous piece in the handle I was referring to. It has the guard-like end to the handle, the wobbly blade on it. I'm very pleased with the way this turned out, and I'm glad I could have made a video of this with everyone. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed very much making this. This took quite a bit of effort, but I am very pleased with the result. So, if you haven't yet, you feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel, or share it on any social media you may think it's adequate to. And until next time, I'll say Avada Kedavra.